Hello, this is CJ Hoyle. Today is Friday, June the 2nd, 2023, and today I'm standing here in front of the Iqaluit Airport in Canada's northern Arctic territory of Nunavut. Back behind me there you can see I've got a bicycle, which I've arranged to use for today, and in this video I'm going to be giving a narrated tour of the city of Iqaluit. Alright, so starting from here at the airport, I'm going to head in the east direction towards sort of the downtown central area of Iqaluit. Iqaluit's not tiny, but it's also not very large either, so we should be able to see quite a bit of Iqaluit in this relatively short video. Got some stop signs here that I guess I should stop for, which have the word stop written in 3 different languages: English, French, and Inuktitut, the Inuit language. And just like in most communities around an airport, it's kind of mostly industrial sort of building. So we'll ride through some of that, but then we'll get into some more of the businesses towards downtown. And straight ahead you can see a bunch of houses built up on top of the hill. There's quite a bit of sort of newer homes that were built up there in the last little while. Over on the right here, we're just about to pass a baseball field, although it looks like the entire field is kind of like an infield because there is no grass that grows here. So it's all the same sort of sandy gravel material, but it's still nice that there's a place for the kids to get to play baseball. This road we're coming up to here is called Federal Road. I'll make a quick stop and then we'll turn to the right and we'll continue on towards the downtown area of Iqaluit. So I've been here for 5 days now. I was fortunate to have a business trip which took me here, and I spent the beginning of the week doing things for work, but I decided to extend my stay by a little bit. And I'm flying back on Saturday, tomorrow, and today I took the day off work, so today is a vacation day for me, so it's free for me to explore, and with a bicycle I should be able to cover even more ground than I can on foot. You'll notice there's quite a lot of shipping container type units sitting around this area of town. There are no roads to get to Iqaluit. The only way here is to fly a plane, that's of course why I decided to start the video from Iqaluit Airport, because that's where most people would first get here from. But it is also possible to get goods shipped here by boat, so that's why you see a lot of shipping containers sitting around. The hotel where I'm staying at is just over there on the left. It's referred to as the New Hotel. That's what people in town here seem to call it, because the name is in Inuktitut, and a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it. It's Aqsarniit, something along those lines. And you can see we're gradually sort of getting out of the industrial sort of airport area. This blue and yellow building over on the right is the Inuit Broadcasting Corporation. So kind of like the CBC, but specific to the Inuit. So Iqaluit has a population of about 7,000, and the entire territory of Nunavut has, I believe, about 40,000. So while this is the largest population center, there are far more people who live, in other communities combined than there are here in Iqaluit. And Iqaluit is quite different from the others in that it's sort of more connected to the rest of the world. And I really would love to get a chance someday to get to visit one of those smaller communities as well. And so the temperature right now, you can of course see some snow in the distance. It hasn't snowed during the time when I've been here, but the temperature today right now is around 0 degrees Celsius currently. So it's actually quite comfortable temperature to ride a bike in. Of course, assuming you've got the right gloves and jacket, etc. Over on the left, it's kind of hidden behind some buildings. There's a blue building over there called the Black Heart Café, which is a popular spot. Apparently they've got the best coffee in town. I'm not a coffee drinker, but people I've spoken with who live and work here and said the coffee is pretty good. The next building over there on the left is the RCMP office for Iqaluit. That's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And this building over here, coming up on the right, the one that's kind of a burgundy color, that is the Nunavut Legislative Assembly, the legislature, where the local government, oh no, this one isn't actually, it's the next one. The blue building just up ahead here. The burgundy building is a Government of Canada building, but this blue building on the right now is the Legislative Assembly, so it's where the local government or the territorial government meets, and I believe they're in session right now, which may be why we can see lots of people out front, including a television camera, a couple of television cameras. I'm actually going to make a little right turn here just to show one thing. So next to this building, you can see there's a whole bunch of flags there. There are 25 communities in Nunavut, and each one has a flag represented here. And unlike a lot of places where the number of communities, kind of varies depending on what you consider a community, in Nunavut, the communities are very distinct because they're all, even more remote than Iqaluit, that, you can only get there either by boat or by plane. And each one sort of, has its own utilities there, but outside of those areas, the roads only go so far, and from there on, it just, you're not in a community anymore. So there's exactly 25 communities here, in addition to Iqaluit, which is the capital of Nunavut. When I talk about the boats coming in, of course, that's only for a limited part of the year that boats can actually make it into a lot of these places. Right now, the bay that Iqaluit is on, which is called Frobisher Bay, it's all iced over right now, and it will be for at least another month or so, I believe. It's currently the month, the very beginning of June. So I was out there yesterday, and there's about 5 feet of ice. That's how thick the ice is out on the bay. So it'll be a while before that all melts away. So I'm now sort of riding through kind of the main downtown strip of Iqaluit. Over on the left is the post office. You can see a dental clinic over on the right and a few other buildings. CIBC Bank over on the left. And at the moment we've got the sun shining, which is nice. It's been pretty cloudy for most of the time when I've been here, but it's nice that the sun decided to come out right before I turn on the camera to make for a good video. So coming straight ahead is you can see there's a Tim Hortons restaurant, but kind of most of that building there is part of a store called Northmart, which is kind of like a Walmart. It's kind of like a grocery store, but it also has a bunch of other things. And over on the left there, that white building, that is a school here in Iqaluit. I believe that would be like the elementary age kids school. There's some very unique buildings here. Some of them are very plain and pretty similar to what you'd expect to see south of here, but in some instances they've really taken the opportunity to make their buildings really unique. I'm just going to make a right turn at this intersection here, and we'll head kind of down towards the water, or where the water would be if it wasn't frozen right now. The reason I was out on the water last night, or on the ice, was because I went dog sledding, and I filmed quite a bit of footage during that adventure, which I plan on editing into a video that I can share for my viewers. Very unique and interesting experience. This building that's kind of light blue over on our right is the Visitor Centre for Iqaluit, and it also functions as the local library as well. The red roof building on the right here is a museum, which I haven't been to yet, but I plan on doing probably later today. And I believe the building itself was originally used by the Hudson's Bay Company. And so from here over towards our right, beyond these houses, you can see a little bit of the view out to sea, out across Frobisher Bay. There is a harbor pier that goes out from here. In fact, let me show you a picture that I took earlier in my trip from when I was standing out there on that pier. So you can see we've now kind of left the kind of commercial area of Iqaluit, and now we're riding through kind of more housing area. I'm going to make a left turn here and kind of loop my way back. So if you visit Iqaluit and you want to use it, ride around Iqaluit like I'm doing, I think you might have a little bit of trouble finding a bike to use. A couple of sources online said that visitor center that we passed had bike rentals available, but that must have changed because I walked in there and I asked about it and they had no idea what I was talking about. But lucky for me, because of my time spent here for work, I'd made some connections with some locals, and I knew a guy who had a bike, and I said, hey, do you mind if I use your bike while you're at work today? And he said, oh, sure, no problem at all. So it's thanks to him that this video is possible. And also, I have this goal of eventually riding a bicycle in all 13 provinces and territories here in Canada, and this is, I believe, number 7 for me. So it would probably be a hard one to get. And of course, I'm here in Nunavut at a time of the year when it's, warm enough for this type of thing. In the winter, they gets way down to, below -40. We're just passing the KFC Pizza Hut Quick Stop combination building there. I haven't actually eaten at that restaurant yet. But this next one up on the right is called The Snack, which apparently was the first diner in Iqaluit. And I've eaten there twice actually, and both were good meals. The buildings here, I mentioned, some of them look fairly standard, although they're really not standard, in that the way that they're constructed is quite a bit different. You'll notice the one on the left there, that sort of apartment building, that along the bottom, there's kind of like a metal cage. And pretty much every building you also see has kind of a set of stairs to climb up to get inside. And that's because they build the buildings here on stilts, essentially. Because of the rock that they're building on top of, and because of, I guess frost and whatnot, they elevate them above the surface. That's the most stable type of foundation that they can do around here. And so you'll see a combination of sort of newer housing buildings and older housing buildings along through here. And you'll see that there's a school bus there driving around. And I guess that makes sense because we're, going very close to the school. I'm filming this right now at around 11 o'clock, maybe 11:30 in the morning. So I think that maybe the school bus takes kids home at lunch and then picks them up again. This is not the first time that I've seen a school bus in the middle of the day like this. So coming up ahead on the left, you could probably see a fairly unusual looking white building. Of course, the elementary school is that kind of, there's two odd shaped buildings over on our left. There's the school, which we already saw, but that domed looking building there, that's actually a church. And it was built to look like an igloo. So quite a unique shape of building. I think there's a couple of other churches in town, but none that are quite as impressive as that one. I forgot to mention it, but to our right back there, as we were kind of climbing up that hill, there was kind of a big building with a lot of windows in it that was kind of built at the top of the hill. That's another hotel. That's called the Frobisher Inn. And that building also has a lot of other things inside of it, like, a movie theater and a bar, a couple of restaurants, things like that. So it's sort of a, community hub in a way, but also a place where a lot of people who are traveling like me tend to spend their time. So this time of the year in early June, the days are quite long here. I believe sunset is officially at around 10:30 in the evening, but it doesn't get completely dark after then. I've looked out my window at around 12:30 in the evening and there's still been a fair bit of light outside. And that's because, of course, the sun comes right back up again soon after that. You'll notice that some of the roads are paved, but a lot of them are just sort of gravelly mud, like what I'm riding on right now. One thing you may have noticed as we've been riding along here is that there aren't any trees, and there are no trees in any direction, even if you go outside of the city, and that's because trees just don't grow here. It's winter for too much of the year. So it's a very unique place, unlike anywhere I've ever been before, and I really feel very lucky to have gotten to visit, and glad that I've had the chance to make this video to share with others who may never get the chance to come and visit Iqaluit. It is very expensive to fly here, and even the extra nights that I'm staying here, off of company time is at the hotel is pretty expensive, but definitely worth it. Definitely enjoying this time here. That building is straight ahead there is the Iqaluit Aquatic Centre, which of course is where there's a pool, but there's also a gym and a bunch of other athletic things there. I've never been inside myself. I've only heard about it. Just gonna make a left turn and we'll sort of head down this hill here, back towards kind of the downtown. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated tour here of the city of Iqaluit. I've done a fair number of these videos over the years in different places. This is definitely the furthest north one that I've ever done, and maybe the furthest north I'll ever do. But hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments, and thanks for watching.